There are those who close their eyes and instantly see flashes of temples buried in sand, feel the weight of armor they once wore as warriors in fallen empires, or weep uncontrollably at the sound of ancient mantras that awaken something deep and familiar in their chest. Those people speak of reincarnation as if it's a hallway they've walked through 1,000 times, lives layered over lives like pages in a worn-out book, and every time they meditate or dream, they return to a chapter already written, revisiting karmic debts, soul contracts, or vows made in forgotten tongues. But then there is you. And when you close your eyes, there is no Egypt, no Atlantis, no forests of Avalon waiting to be remembered. There are no flashbacks of rituals or battlefields, no soulmates from other centuries calling your name in the silence, and no ancient wisdom echoing back to greet you like an old friend. There is only stillness. There is only the present life. There is only the vague, haunting sense that something about this world has always felt foreign. And this absence, this emptiness where memory should be, is not a failure on your part, not a block to be broken or a trauma to be uncovered, but rather, it is a profound truth, one that many have never dared to speak aloud, because it threatens to unearth a truth far more mysterious than reincarnation, a truth that whispers, "You were never here before, because your soul comes from somewhere else entirely. You are what some have come to call a first-incarnation starseed, a soul that has existed for eons, perhaps in crystalline forms of light or on planets where time bends and matter sings, but has only now, in this very lifetime, chosen to incarnate on Earth for the very first time. Not out of karma, not out of punishment, but because there was a call sent out across the cosmos, and your essence, wherever it resided then, responded. And now here you are, in a dense body, on a heavy planet, surrounded by noise, pollution, chaos, fear, and systems that make no sense to you. Systems of power, of hierarchy, of scarcity and shame. Systems where beings hurt one another to feel alive, where emotions are buried instead of honored, where love is traded like currency, and truth is something people are taught to avoid, rather than seek. You look at this world and wonder why everyone else seems to know how to play the game. Why people care so much about what they wear, or how much money they have, or how many strangers like their photo. Why everyone else can feel a sense of belonging in traditions you've never understood, or nationalism you've never felt, or family dynamics that seem more like contracts than connections. And inside, a voice asks again and again, "What am I doing here?" That ache, that sense of disconnection, that quiet despair that something is wrong not just with the world but with your own identity, is not madness. It is memory, or more precisely, the absence of it, because unlike others who can trace their soul through past human incarnations, you are walking this earth as a stranger for the very first time, trying to make sense of a species that feels both miraculous and maddening, beautiful and brutal, sacred and utterly lost. And so when the teachers speak of clearing karma or remembering vows, when others talk about déjà vu in old churches or crying at historical films because their soul remembers, you feel nothing, or worse, you feel like an imposter. Like maybe you're just spiritually defective, too blocked, too broken, too disconnected from source to remember what others recall so easily. But you are not broken. You are not blocked. You are simply new to this place. Your soul is ancient, but your experience of Earth is not. And that difference is not only valid, it is vital, because first-incarnation starseeds do not come here to relive old cycles. They come to end them. And yet, despite the confusion, despite the emotional weight of disconnection, you have survived this far. Not because the world has made sense, but because something within you refuses to forget that even if Earth is not your home, you have brought with you a blueprint, a code, a vibration that doesn't need to remember past lives here to know what's right, what's pure, and what's real. Because deep within your cellular memory is not the story of a single Earth lifetime, but the resonance of stars, of energy systems, of light-based consciousnesses that do not use language, do not hold fear, and do not separate love from being. And although your human mind cannot translate where exactly you come from, Whether it was the crystalline worlds of Lyra, the gentle spheres of Andromeda, the fluidic realms of Sirius B, or a dimension so far removed it has no name, your emotional body knows because it reacts viscerally to beauty, to stillness, to sound frequencies that others call noise but which, to you, feel like music from home. There are moments when you stare into the night sky and feel your chest ache in ways no relationship or heartbreak has ever caused. And in those moments, the loneliness becomes almost unbearable, not because you're incomplete, but because part of you remembers what it felt like to be surrounded by others who didn't speak with words, who didn't hide behind masks, who didn't question whether you were enough, but instead celebrated your frequency like a note in a galactic song. That longing is not delusion. It is homesickness. It is the consequence of being a soul brave enough to enter a planetary field where density is so thick that it cuts you off from the very light you once were made of. And still you came knowing that you would forget, knowing that you would doubt yourself, knowing that Earth's matrix would tell you you're crazy, ungrounded, or broken, and you still said yes. Because First-Incarnation Starseeds are not here to fit in, they are here to transmit, to anchor a vibration that does not exist in this reality unless it is embodied. And that embodiment cannot happen unless someone brings it in for the very first time. Which is why so many of you have no past life connections to this planet. You didn't come here to continue the story, you came here to start a new one. And that story begins not with remembering a forgotten Earth identity, but with accepting that your blank page is not a curse. It is your power. Because without the burden of karmic baggage, without the entanglement of centuries of earthbound trauma loops, your soul can operate as a clean frequency, a pure channel for something so new, so high and so healing, that even the planet itself adjusts slightly every time you speak your truth or choose love in a place where love is rare. But this awakening, this realization that you are a first-incarnation being, often arrives only after the pain has stripped you raw, after every attempt to heal your past has left you frustrated or numb, because there is no past to heal here. Only a body trying to adjust to a soul that remembers breathing light, moving between dimensions and communicating through geometry and feeling rather than grammar and rules. So now, instead of asking what lives you once lived on this earth, begin by asking what version of light you used to be before you arrived, not in terms of form or role, but in terms of frequency, of essence, of the pure vibration that moved through you when you were not limited by skin or bone, when your consciousness flowed like a river across star systems, weaving between beings who knew you not by your name but by your resonance. Because deep beneath the layers of forgetting, your soul still carries a memory that predates any Earth incarnation, a memory not stored in the brain but in the light body, in the silent spaces between thoughts, in the heat behind your chest when you stand beneath the stars, or in the cold stillness of your loneliest moments, when nothing on Earth feels familiar, and yet something deep inside says I have always existed. And in that realization, the pain begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone broken trying to recall a life that never existed, but as someone encoded with something so new. It has never been lived before. And it is precisely that newness that makes you invaluable in a world stuck in cycles. You are not here to awaken to the past. You are here to awaken the future. You are not here to remember Earth. You are here to rewrite it. And when you feel most disconnected, most hopeless, most alien, remember this. The greater the light you carry, the longer it takes to ground, and the deeper the void you felt, the more space you hold for something sacred to arrive through you. So now, if you are ready, I want you to take a moment to sit still. Let your body soften. Let your thoughts slow. Let your breath become gentle, steady. And with your eyes closed, I invite you to imagine not a life before this one, but a light, vast, infinite, moving across the stars like a river of memory, a luminous awareness that knows no form, no time, only purpose. This light is you, before Earth, before language, before identity. And as you inhale, allow this light to gently descend into your body, into your chest, into your spine, your hands, your heart, until every part of you remembers what it feels like to belong not to a place but to a frequency. You are not here by accident. You are not disconnected. You are not lost. You are only now beginning to remember the part of you that never fit in because it was never meant to. And in that remembering you come home.